appointment of auditor and appointment in case of casual vacancy. So in this video we will discuss about remuneration of an auditor, qualifications of an auditor, disqualifications of an auditor, rights of auditor and duties of an auditor. Remuneration of an auditor. Section 142 of the Companies Act 2013 deals with the remuneration of an auditor. That means Section 142 of the Companies Act 2013 deals with the remuneration of an auditor, and this remuneration of an auditor is fixed by the board of directors and the members of the company in the annual general meeting. So whatever the remuneration is fixed by the board, that will be implemented to the auditor, and it is inclusive of any payable fees to the auditor accompanied by the expenses that are incurred by the auditor with regard to audit of the company and any facility extended to him. So it includes all the expenses, audit expenses, as well as all the expenses which are incurred during the course of an audit. Next, coming to the qualifications of an auditor. Section 141 subsection 1 and subsection 2 of the Companies Act 2013 deals with the qualification of an auditor. A person who is eligible for being an auditor. That means a person who has completed the course or certified from the Chartered Accountants of India can be an auditor of a company, or when a firm including in a limited liability partnership is appointed as auditor of a company. Only partners who are chartered accountant. For example, if a limited liability partnership is as an auditor of a company, that means, so when those partners, out of those partners, if anyone is having complete knowledge about accounts and who has been pursued chartered accountant, shall be authorized to be auditor of a company, and he will be authorized to act and sign on behalf of the firm. Only that particular partner is eligible to sign the audit reports of the company. Disqualifications of an auditor. So Section 141 subsection 3 of the Companies Act 2013 deals with the disqualification of an auditor. That means the person who cannot become an auditor, who is not eligible to become an auditor. So first and foremost thing is any body corporate other than limited liability partnership registered under the Limited Liability Partnership Act 2008. That means Limited Liability Partnership Act under which the persons are registered, under which a company is registered. So ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಏನಾದರೂ ಫರ್ಮ್ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ Partnership Act 2008 ಅಲ್ಲಿ registered ಆಗಿದೆ. So only those are eligible. Other than that, any body corporate are ineligible. They are not eligible for the appointment of an auditor. Next, any officer or employee of the organization. That means if you are working in one company, then you are not eligible for the position of an auditor. To company has no right to appoint you as a auditor, because an employee or officer of the same company cannot be appointed as an auditor. Next, a person who is a partner or who is in employment of an officer of the company. That means only in case of limited liability partnership the person is eligible. That means a person who has completed chartered accountant and have the knowledge, he can be a auditor of the concern. But and apart from that, who are not registered and the employment for the full time, for the full year, then that particular person is not eligible for the position of an auditor. Next, a person whose relative is a director or is the employment of the company as a director or a key managerial personnel. That means, for example, if anybody's relative is a director in one particular company, then that particular person cannot be appointed for the employment as an auditor in that particular company. So Section 140 subsection 1 of the Companies Act deals with the removal of an auditor. As we all know that appointment of auditor is based on the Section 139 of the Companies Act. So removal of an auditor is done through Section 140 subsection 1 of the Companies Act. Okay, that deals with the removal of an auditor. On audit, an auditor can be removed through various circumstances. He can be removed for various reasons. But before removing, the company should have to obtain the permission from the central government, that made in the form of ADT2. That means they should collect all the information regarding they should fill the form, they should submit for the central government, and then they need to take the personal proceedings. Next, a special resolution should be passed. That means company any decision should be taken, should be passed in a special resolution, without which the company cannot take the decision, right? In the same way, whenever an auditor wants to be removed from the company or organization, board meetings, board people should have should pass a special resolution before the expiry of his term. So for example, as I said, so ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಬ್ಬ auditor ಆಗಲಿ, once he or she is get appointed, he or she will hold the office for 5 years. The auditor will hold the office for 5 years. So before expiry of the period, if you want to remove, then special resolution has to be passed, and then it should be approved by the central government. Then, so once it is made, the auditor shall also be given a chance before his removal. So he will be given a chance of being heard. So ಈ ರೀತಿ ಏನು ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಟರ್ಮಿನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಏನು ಅವನಿಗೆ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವನ ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ದ ಆಡಿಟರ್ ಶಾಲ್ ಬಿ ಗಿವನ್ ಅ ರೀಸನೇಬಲ್ opportunity being heard before his removal. Then an application as specified above shall be filed within 30 days from the date of passing of the resolution. That means, so application has to be specified to the central government before removing of an auditor within the 30 days period of his term. So ADT2 ಅಂತಂದು ಹೇಳಿದೆ. So this ADT2 is nothing but it is a electronic form which is given by the regional directors of the register of company for removal of the directors. Sorry, not for the removal of directors, for the removal of auditors. Next, the company should hold an extraordinary general meeting within 60 days from the approval received from the central government. So once you get before getting the approval from the central government, you should hold an extraordinary general meeting. There you need to pass a resolution for the removal of an auditor. This concept is rights of an auditor. Being an auditor, he enjoys certain rights. So let's discuss rights of an auditor one by one. First and foremost right is right to access books of accounts. Being an auditor, he enjoys the right to access all the books of accounts which are maintained by the organization, such as it may be inventory, purchase book, or etc., costing records, etc. He is having the complete right to rectify and assess all the books of accounts. Second right is right to obtain information and explanation. Wherever the auditor feels he requires more explanation, he can ask with any member of the organization regarding during the course of his auditing. Next, right to correct any wrong statement. Being an auditor, his main job is to rectify and give suggestions to the organization. So he has to correct each and every statement, financial statements maintained by the organization, and correct them. If they have maintained it a wrong way, he need to rectify it and he need to give suggestions for the organization. Next and foremost right is right to visit branches. So whenever the company is operating in a holding and subsidiary company, then the auditor is having complete right to rectify the branches, that is subsidiary company. If he requires any further more detailed information, then he can also rectify visit the head office, that is the holding company books of accounts also can be verified by the auditor. Next, right to receive the notice and other communications relating to the general meeting and attend them. So being an auditor, section 146 provides that the company auditor is entitled to receive all the notices and other communication relating to the general meeting, so that he need to attend them, and if require any all the explanation should be given by the board members to the auditor. Next, right to have legal and technical advice. So being a auditor, he should have right to give all the legal and technical advice regarding the operations of the company. Next, right of being indemnified. That means an auditor has the right to being indemnified. That means right to be compensated. If any losses has been faced by the auditor, then those losses or those monetary losses should be compensated to the auditor during the course of audit. Next, duties of an auditor. First and foremost, duties to inquire on certain matters. Yes, being an auditor, he also has certain duties that he need to perform. First and foremost thing is to inquire on certain matters. So auditor can inquire on all the matters, either it may be on the loans and advances made by the company, transactions which are taken place in the company, investments made by the company, or all the loans and advances which are made by the company. Next duty is to sign the audit report. Once the audit has been taken place and all the auditing has been done, then it is mandatory duty of the auditor to sign the audit report. Next, to comply with the accounting standards. As I said, so the main duty of an auditor is to comply with the accounting standards, whether the organization has been maintaining all the books of accounts as per generally accepted accounting principles or not, and his techniques are matching with those accounting standards or not. Next, to audit report. Next, whatever the reports has been prepared by the auditor, it should be reported in each and every manner. That means detailed explanation should be given in an audit report with respect to the auditing done by the him, and he need to report to the officer. Next, to report the frauds. So being an auditor, if he finds any miscellaneous activities or frauds in the organization, it is his duty to report to the management as well as to the higher authority. Next, to visit branches. As I said, it is a right as well as it is duty also. So wherever if he finds suspicious, he is having the rights to rectify, and it is his duty to rectify the branches also. That is in case of holding and subsidiary company or amalgamation or merger or acquisition. Next, to state the reasons for the qualification or negative report. That means if there is any negative report in the audit report, that means he need to rectify it and he need to submit. That is as per subsection 4 of the 143, whereof any matters required included in the audit report is answered negative with negative or with the qualification. That means with specific reasons he or she should need to be reported to the audit. He or she need to report to the senior most authority.